everyone has been involved in one serious debate. Miles Morales is Miles Morales, not Spider-Man. Surprisingly enough, CBR came up with the perfect list. 10 things Miles Morales needs to do to escape Peter Parker's shadow.
I know you're gonna dig this.
To Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales is a very popular Spider-Man, but in Marvel Comics, Miles still lives in Peter's shadow. All righty. Goes on to say, he's one of the most interesting characters in Spider-Man comics. He's a clever, young, and upcoming hero from another universe entirely, and he's already been leaving his mark on Earth 616. After all, his timely intervention in Secret Wars helped ensure that the multiverse would continue. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, despite his many accomplishments, Miles has been living in the shadow of his predecessor, Peter Parker, ever since he first put on the Spider-Man mask, as he's had to live up to expectations and to the legacy of his fellow heroes. Still, there are some things that Miles can do to escape Peter's shadow. Let's go through this and see if we agree. Miles has tried to do his best to stand apart by sticking to Brooklyn. It does help differentiate him from the Queens and Manhattan-based Peter, but it just isn't far enough. Miles really needs to head somewhere where he'll be the only Spider-Man around. I would say come to Florida, but we don't have swingable buildings. Next is return to the Ultimate Verse. A lot of people have been saying this. Part of what distinguished Miles was that he originally, the last Spider-Man after Peter Parker died in the Ultimate Universe, Miles was able to lead one of the best Ultimate comics. He was the only Spider-Man around, and he was able to wrestle with the true meaning of the web slinger's legacy. Now, though, Peter is around. Miles' status as the surviving Spider-Man has gone to the wayside, taking away the major reason for putting on the mask. If Miles can get back to the Ultimate Verse, he would finally have a place in the wide world of Marvels again. I would also say, and this is just good for the industry, stop it with the Spider-Verse. The Spider-Verse is stupid. 1 million of any character is stupid. They have diluted the brand of damn near every character now because there's so many. Superman used to be the only survivor of Krypton. Now there's too many. Same with Batman, same with Spider-Man, same with Wolverine. Develop his own rogue squad. Outside of Prowler, who has proven to be an extraordinary villain, Miles really doesn't have a group of rogues of his own. Do you see where that's wrong? Prowler was a Peter Parker villain before he was a Miles Morales villain.
Also, like Hobie Brown, really, yeah, he started off as an antagonist for Peter, but eventually he became one of his long-standing allies in his supporting cast. As for Miles, but after him, like he doesn't have any other villains in his rogues gallery.
Heroes are only good as their villains, and Miles just doesn't have many villains of his own. Yeah, he's borrowing Peter's. He is taking Peter's life. He is not Spider-Man. He is secondary Peter Parker. He is Miles Morales. Focus on the champions. While Peter does sometimes join Fantastic Four and Avengers, he's usually better known as a solo hero. Miles, on the other hand, can continue to set himself apart as a team-based hero. It certainly helps that he's already a member of the champions. And the champions are already better than the Avengers because they're a team of kids just trying to do their best. Okay. Hey, I was a Teen Titans fan, so I can't argue that. I like Teen Titans better than Justice League anyway. They have unique challenge and complex roles in the Marvel Universe. If Miles just sticks to the team, he could prove that he's more than just a copy of Peter. Alongside his fellow founders, Kamala Khan, Sam Alexander, they can carve a place of their own. Time to embrace the difference. Take off the mask. Peter is a hero who refuses to give away his identity. He has family to protect and a legacy that would suffer if anyone finds that Miles has the same problems, but that doesn't mean that he needs to react to it the same way Peter does. If Miles takes off the mask and permanently gives away his identity, he can handle his family because people are going to come after him. There's a risk with the mask. Miles will need to protect his family in his own way while Peter focuses on his own strategy. It can even offer some fun interactions between the two as Miles' outing forces them to diverge. Yeah, well, they would actually not be able to hang around because after a while, 2 and 2 together. The lasting love interest. Marriage to MJ was erased from existence, and his other relationships fall apart after too long. Miles can escape Peter's shadow by actually settling down, and he can explore relationships like a typical teenager, and then he can find lasting love. Except they probably won't do that because ultimately it would be the same story as Peter Parker, right? Number 4, develop more multiversal. I don't know. That's the one I disagree with. Would you like a Miles Morales who is basically the Exiles? instead of staying in New York, he's bouncing between universe and universe. I actually think now that I say it out loud, that sounds like a good idea. And it absolutely would make Miles Morales his own character.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention like in the first volume of Exiles, they did have a Spider-Man in the form of Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099.
Kangaroo would kick the shit out of Miles Morales, says Phantasm. Miles Morales is the Phil Collins of Spider-Man world. Old people, you get the reference. They want him to. Okay,
I get it. I mean, if Miles is gonna be Phil Collins, then Peter Parker is Peter Gabriel of Genesis.
The love of the public. Spider-Man doesn't exactly get, this is number 3, get much love in Marvel Comics. While things do occasionally look up for him, years of work by the Daily Bugle still means that New York usually despises Peter. J. Jonah Jameson isn't all bad, but he's caused some massive damage for Peter. It's the reason that he's so often left on his own. Miles, however, can make a difference and prove himself to be a little different from Peter if he can run a PR campaign. He could get people out of the chosen city to defend him. He can start to really make himself the first Spider-Man that people really think about. Okay, 2, size the powers. Yeah, if he's got different powers, put those up front, and you give him a new costume, and then yeah. If Miles starts to rely on those extra powers more, he can stand apart and maybe even move beyond the Spider-Man role that he's been pigeonholed into. Miles can really become more than just a minor hero. Instead, he could become one of the strongest characters Marvel has. And then number 1, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely, I agree with it. I agree at some level with everything on this list, but number 1, absolutely. Change the name. Dude.
Thank you.
Nobody's calling him Spider-Man. They're calling him Miles Morales. They might call him Miles Morales Spider-Man, but they never just call him Spider-Man. Because when you say Spider-Man, you're talking about Peter Parker. Goes on to say, if there's any problem that really ties Miles to Peter, it's the name. It isn't always easy to tell which Spider-Man is being referred to at any given time. Sure, you say Spider-Man, you mean Peter Parker. Spider-Gwen is at least stands apart by calling herself Spider-Woman, and even that can cause confusion with Jessica. I've never referred to Spider-Gwen as anything but Spider-Gwen. Anybody else?
Yeah, I still call her Spider-Gwen. Like even like when they gave her like the new codename of Ghost Spider, or like there will be people out there still saying like people will call her Spider-Gwen more than Ghost Spider, as much like people still calling Billy Captain Marvel instead of Shazam.
Yeah, I still do that too. Chasm and Spider-Man 2099 all have features in their names that set them apart. If Miles really wants to distinguish himself from Peter, he'll need to figure out a name for himself. Now that he's in Earth 616, it just doesn't make much sense to have 2 Spider-Men running around. It doesn't make sense to have 2 of anybody running around. John Kent is not Superman. He's Superboy. Oh, wait, what about Connor Kent? He's Connor.
The missed opportunity for when they decided to bring Miles and his supporting cast into 616 after Secret Wars 2015. Miles could have been the new Tarantula.
Tarantula would be a good name. Yeah. Miles jumping around different universes has been done. It's the most recent Savage Avengers, except Miles was Deathlock. Okay. The Clone Saga did better, and I don't even like the Clone. I hated the Clone Saga. I noped out. I was no longer a Spider-Man fan after that. I in the middle of it, I was like, I'm done. I came back for issue number 400 to read the death of Aunt May, but
so you like the first Clone Saga more than the sequel?
The one with the Jackal and Gwen Stacy in the olden days? Yes, absolutely. He needs to call himself something else first. Exactly. I'll laugh if they call him Black Spider. Oh, we got Captain Marvel. Yeah. I still call him Captain Marvel, but the Shazam powered concept hasn't been interesting since Trials of Shazam, and that was over a decade ago. I like this new issue that came out. And oh yeah, just give Miles pointy boots that'll solve everything. There you go. Pointy boots.
And once upon a time, Julia Carpenter, she actually called herself Spider-Woman before she changed her name to like Arachne, and eventually the new Madam Web after the original died.
There is now a controversy going around about Mayday Parker. Somebody saying that they created him, and I think that's actually sparked an interest. I wonder if they're going to put out a Spider-Girl comic now because people were talking about it on Twitter. Anyway, gang, there you go. That's what we got for you. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with us. Marvel screwing over retailers, the Miles Morales thing of it all. And I appreciate all the questions because that just leads to everywhere. And I love that. That's actually about my favorite part of live streams is when you guys come up with, hey, what do you think about this? Or what's your favorite that? That is always a lot of fun. Thank you to Dominic for hanging out with us. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, the Ko-Fi link is in the description below. There's a tip jar there. I'm going to finish up the outstanding commission videos, and it was mentioned to me that maybe I should restart them. So that may be a thing on Ko-Fi as well. I'll just have to figure out a way I don't get overwhelmed, because that's one of the problems of last time. All righty, but thanks for hanging out with us tonight. There might be an unboxing. I'm expecting a box of comics for the auction. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.
See you all later.
See you later.
Dig this.